Coming up in this week's album review podcast. Currently, I've got, Dear Mr. McFly, I hope this message reaches you. My dog died.
But depends for the reason you remember them by, isn't it?
Plateau
it's like Jimmy Savile was memorable.
Oh my god.
Mr. McFly, since our last message, a second dog has died. It's like when I was in primary school and I used to take in the cupcakes, but instead of icing sugar, I'd put cocaine on it. And I'll continue killing dogs until you reply.
Would you guys go back in time and like live school again if you could?
Do I have the knowledge I have now?
Yes.
Do I have a bigger penis?
No.
Then no. Dear Mr. McFly, I'm sorry to write to you under the pretense that a third dog has been killed. Dear Mr. McFly, the fourth dog has hit the second tower. I hope you're well.
Album review.
Wait, did Denver pick this album?
He did.
Today's album
is
McFly, Motion in the Ocean.
Whoa, I love swimming.
I thought this was Joe's album, I'll be honest. It just feels like a Joe pick, you know what I mean?
Does it?
Kind of does, actually.
It is a bit of a Joe pick, to be fair.
This album,
A lot of claps.
it's like many albums when we go back, I feel, where like it feels a little bit dated. In terms of its underlying quality. And it took me a long time to get past that, I feel, because I know we've had this album for like a month now.
Do you mean like production quality? Is that what you
I mean like raw sound quality. Like in terms of like mixing and balance, I think it was all okay. There wasn't much to it, quite basic, sort of just pop band. I think it had good elements, but often all the songs that had a good element also had a bad element. And the difference between the best and the worst, I think, was small. And because of that, it kind of meant like it had that, and this happens with a few albums where sometimes you listen to a song and like, I don't know if this is the worst song or one of the best, but it's more memorable. Does being more memorable mean it's better than some of the others? Because some of the others kind of just...
Depends for the reason you remember them by, isn't it?
Plateau
it's like Jimmy Savile was memorable.
Oh my god.
For a bad reason.
For the wrong reason.
Exactly.
He's not wrong.
And then Bruce's old Len Goodman,
no idea.
Everyone loved him.
Don't know who he is.
Old Lenny Goodman.
I only know nonsense.
Who's Lenny Goodman?
So I think Len Goodman.
I'm pretty sure he's the guy that hangs out in the
lead
Premier
judge.
Inn, isn't it?
Oh, is that the
180?
Oh, 7?
180.
180 darts.
So every time I listen to this album, I kind of never wanted to hear it again. But the more I almost did force myself to listen to it, you're like, you can see all the different nuances of the different songs and a little bit details. So I kind of, like you listen, I'm not sure if you guys find this, but when you first listen to an album, you kind of get a rough number in your head of where you think you're going to score it, like off one listen. And I feel like the bar moves as you listen to it, like more or less. Sometimes you listen to an album once and you think it's a fucking like, this is like near perfect. And then you more listen to it, you're like, the other ones go the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
This definitely did go the other way, but not by much, because every time I did finish the album, I did never want to listen to it again. Not because it was bad, just because I was like, done. I think part of that is actually because of the "Don't Stop Me Now, Silence is Scary" sound finish.
Because it's 11 minutes. And
I'll be honest, I kind of just null and void that off the album because I'm
I did. Because like I love the "Don't Stop Me Now" cover like so much, but I thought, you know what, that's a cover, and then it's just 11 minutes, and then just
I didn't count it towards the album, to be honest.
So I didn't really include it.
So I kind of took what Homies with the Heartist as the final song, and I felt like that was a really good end song. I felt like this album did have distinct start and finish, and I felt like the pacing was good, and the variety of which songs kind of went where. For an album of this age, where I feel like this album still came out at the end of the era, where I felt like you could just make an album with a few good songs and sell it, because buying singles was still... I mean, it was possible, but people didn't really do it then.
No.
You know, like people did. It's still in 2006. I feel like people still did, even if it was on CDs, still did just like a few songs and then buy an album.
Yeah, well, this is the time period where HMV was just the best store in the world for me. Like, I'd walk into HMV, I'd be like looking for all my favorite artists and wanting to buy all the albums. And that's also because at that period in time, my car didn't have an aux port. It was just all CD. So it was the time where I had a collection of CDs in there. So it was
in your parents' car.
No, my car. Well, not all.
I guess
not at this time. I guess not at this time. But
I was going to say, we were fully in the Spotify, Apple Music era when we had cars.
I'm not even going to try and explain it because I'm struggling now to understand what my own point was.
You're like, you know, my car didn't have an aux in 2006 when I was 8.
What, one of your little go-karts when you were a kid? You know, those are fucking little electric things.
My little toy tractor didn't have an aux. How was I supposed to listen to it?
Fuck's sake.
You know, but do you understand?
No, I don't understand.
Fair enough.
Please
I can't.
Do you mean CD player or do you mean a car?
We'll go with that. Yeah, CD player. Yeah, because I mean that's the time where I had CD players. But then again, I had an MP3. I'm lost. I don't understand what I was trying to say.
Do you remember when you still had to download, like, you had to extract songs off a CD onto your computer to then put it on your MP3?
Just burn it. Yeah,
you burn it,
That's it.
Do you ever used to use LimeWire? Was that what it was?
That rings
I never
a bell.
used any of the...
That rings a bell.
LimeWire was the dodgy one. It was amazing.
I remember, though, like, the computer I had, like, a home computer, like an old one, that I could use, but it wasn't connected to the internet. So it was essentially just for, like, Word and Excel, and it had, like, Medal of Honor 1 and Halo 1 on it. An Unreal Tournament 2003 and 2004. Anyway, where I'm getting with this is the computer didn't have internet. So when you burned CDs off the disc, it just came through as Untitled Track 1, Untitled Track 2. So you had to go through, look at the CD, and be like, track 1's this, and type it in. So I had to do that on all songs.
I didn't even know you could do that, because I just dealt with it. I just dealt with track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4. That's all I ever... just remember.
Like, I love track 8!
75 is a right banger on my MP3.
And also, on my iPod Shuffle, you know who I had on there?
Little
Chris.
Oh no!
Who the fuck's Little Chris?
The one
It's Post Malone.
Post Malone.
Oh really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
That is.
That's
crazy.
a really old reference, Joe. That I'm quite disappointed that you didn't get.
Early album.
Yeah,
Same.
it really
That's
is.
very early album.
I don't
even think, was that
God.
pre-recording, or was that still was that still referenced at the start of the recording?
It might have been right at the
I think
very
it's the
beginning.
very first
In fact,
few
one
episodes.
of the first album reviews we did is called Checking It Out, which must mean that we were talking about Little Chris.
Yes, it is. Fucking hell.
But yes, so this did grow on me over time. Generally good pacing and variety, but I still think it just was very basic quality-wise. I think a testament to the age. And I never really wanted to listen to it again. I kind of just was always like, it's all right. Like, I wouldn't ever be like, oh, fuck, what's this on for? But equally, I don't think I'd ever be like, stick that album on again. Least favorite, just because it was the most meh and I felt like it was just boring, was Walk in the Sun.
Fair enough.
But then in terms of my favourites, other than my favourite, what?
Nothing, carry on.
Did you like
Apparently liked Walk in the Sun.
I just found it boring.
It was the least, like...
Hooky. Yeah, that's probably why. Now, a third favourite was a debate for a while. I didn't know if it was going to be like Please, 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 Little Joanna, Friday Night. I thought we're all on a similar level. And then my third favourite, I equally wasn't sure. I think this could be most people's least favourite. And that's Transylvania.
How could that be your least favourite?
I mean, I get why you say that, but it has such a sick chorus.
I was going to say,
that's it. I did think when it first started, I was like, this is going to be awful.
It's
but
the weird
it's the chorus.
I thought,
is
is this
great.
going to put people off enough even though I feel like it has, other than the weird voice that is bad in elements, but it then makes whether it's because it's bad, it then makes the other scenes better than they are, or whether the other bits are actually still really good. It was one of the few songs where I was like, actually, every time this finishes, I do actually want to play this song again. Yeah. I actually do. It is a cool song. So Transylvania is my third. But like I say, I feel like at the first listen, I was like, this one sounds awful. Like, this is by far the worst.
I totally agree. On my first listen, I was like, this is my gonna, like, 10 seconds is like, this can be my worst favourite. And it did grow on me. And I do like the chorus.
And I think that one's the one that has like the shit, I didn't write it down, but it has like the call receive thing going for it, like the harmony where like one person speaks and the other person responds, like call and response thing. I like that in songs. I think 2 songs actually had that. I'm not sure if Little Joanna had that as well. Second favorite, Home is Where the Heart Is. Just a great feel good finish with a really cool build, and I think that did nail the classic. It feels like that should be the final song. I'm not sure if you were here, Aidan, at the time, but I basically said earlier, like, I kind of just didn't really count Don't Stop Me Now and Silence is Scary.
No. For one, it's 11 long.
Yeah, it just felt like that shouldn't be there. I'm not sure if that was on the original, and this is just like a deluxe add-on.
And then it's got like, is it got like 4 minutes of silence in the middle or something, and then the final song?
No, I never get it when they do that on albums. Like, why?
They did it on the My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, the last song on Blood.
Song,
I don't get why they do that. It's so annoying. But
I guess it makes. Do you wonder if it's like some like production company thing? Like, do you think they have like a weird thing of where like
no way, surely not.
They're capped on how many songs they're allowed? Like, say McFly, they do this album. They're like, right, they've been permissioned by the record label to do a 12-song album.
No,
and they're like,
it doesn't work like that.
Okay,
and then when they do it, they're like, shit, we really want these 2 songs. We'll just have it. We've got enough physical space on the disc.
Right.
We're capped at our song numbers for bureaucracy reasons. So they do this thing where they put 2 songs on with gaps in between. Because when you're playing it on a CD, it'll just keep playing.
Yes. But the way it works is they have. It's not based on how many songs, but they have a budget. Like so you're like, your record label will give you $2,000 or whatever to go on. So like say if I went up and got signed onto a record label and they're like, right, you're not massive, but obviously you need some money to go produce some songs. They'll be like, here's $2,000, go play in the studio and make an album, and you have that set budget. And that's kind of how that side of that works.
Well, that was fucking boring. Go on, then we'll carry on.
I get that bit, but it's kind of like, well, how does that then mean that this happens? I feel like we'd have to get McFly on to explain why this happens.
Just ring him. Just call him up.
So,
hang on, I'll send him a message on Instagram.
Yeah, DM him.
When can we get to the point with album review where we can start? We do our review and then get the guest on.
When they get more than 50 views, Deborah.
I don't know if we can ever get that big.
No, I don't believe so either.
How many streamers we currently got watching that aren't us?
None.
0.
Right. What am I typing to McFly?
You're
actually DMing.
Hello.
Type it.
DM McFly.
Hello.
What's the main guy's name?
Hello,
Call him
Mr.
out by
Fly.
full name.
Isn't it like Charlie Butler or something? No,
it's
I thought
probably
that's
that's not who
busted.
runs it. Just say hello, Mr.
Hello,
Fly,
Mr. McFly.
but with no space. So it's
No,
like
put dear, like it's like a letter. Dear Mr. McFly, hope this message finds you well.
dear Mr. McFly.
You put that at the end of a message.
Shut up. Right, we're getting into it. Let me cook. Dear
Hope
Mr.
this
McFly,
message reaches you.
Hope this message reaches you. My dog recently just died. And I was hoping... No. And I was hoping that we could have a sneak preview of the new album. If not, we will settle for having you on the podcast. We are a, in brackets, semi, close brackets, professional reviewing streaming. And we would love to have the real artists, the real Mr. McFlys, in brackets, that's you, close brackets, to come on the podcast to be able to speak to us about your experiences in writing an album over nearly 20 years ago.
Specifically, motion in the ocean. And why Don't Stop Me Now when silence is a scary sound.
Was it a bureaucracy thing? Question mark. Anyway, hope to hear back from you soon. My friend Joe claims it was a budget restriction, but I guess we'll never know.
Unless you come on the podcast.
All the best. Lots of love. Will Davey.
And then can you send an attached picture of just a
And then send an attached picture of a crab wielding a knife. Is this something we can do? I'm gonna eat a bit of garlic.
I think we can get that message out there.
I can't.
And then we can
I
have the
can't
follow-up
pot that my dog is dead.
You haven't even written that. That was the opening line.
Fucking hell, you're like a paragraph behind, lad.
What? He said that he said it so quick.
I'm trying to eat you, dickhead. Yes, you can send that. You can send the dog's dead. We're trying to like guilt trip him into wanting to come onto the podcast.
And your dog did die.
My dog died. Will. It happened.
But he's sending the message.
Yeah, well, you know, like he's gonna write underneath it that it's like
my friend
in brackets
died.
consistently trash.
So out of context, hey, Mr. McFly, my friend's dog died. Now, please come on the podcast.
Maybe, Will, rather than sending it now, do you want to just watch this back afterwards and then send it?
I might, yeah. Currently, I've got, Dear Mr. McFly, I hope this message reaches you. My dog died.
Just send that.
Should I just send that?
And then if they respond, bam on the pod.
Full stop.
Oh my god. Look at it, I'm actually crying. That's so stupid.
Alright.
As if you put hope this is well. Sincerely, Will Davey.
Hang on. Oh my god.
My room is so incredibly hot right now.
Oh, I'm sweating.
I don't know why.
It's hit me like a hot
Dear Mr.
shit.
McFly, hope this message reaches you. Space. My dog died. Space. Fancy a podcast guest appearance? Sincerely, Mr. Will Davey. P.S. You're Mr. McFly.
Oh my fucking god.
P.S.
Wow. PSS, or what is it?
PSS.
PSS.
I'd really like you to come on the podcast. It would be awesome.
I'm gonna get blocked.
Yeah, you are. You're going to get instantly blocked. I mean, I doubt that they've got their DMs open, but
We need a consistently trash account. Oh, we have the Twitter.
We have one.
We do have
the
one.
Instagram.
Do we have Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got like 3 pictures on there.
If you look on our link tree, you will see it.
Thanks, Will.
Mr.
You think so?
So we
Does it have that picture of us from the poker on it?
It did. I'm not sure if it does anymore.
I think so. And at the time, Aidan didn't want his face, so it's just covered in an emoji.
Yeah. Dear Mr.
Hard times have changed.
All right, I'll send it. We'll see what happens.
We'll send it. We'll send it.
Well, and then obviously number 1 was still Stargirl, just the best.
Stargirl, great
Just
song.
the best.
Yeah,
Fuck.
thank you, Will. We can't see that at all, but
Hang on.
that's really great.
Great, thanks for that.
Oh,
Still, that's so blurry. I
mean, I'm glad that you sent it. We'll have to hear back from.
I love how you've done it line by line. By the way,
Well, it's like an email.
Yeah, it's like an
Really
email,
spaced it
exactly.
out.
Well, we don't have McFly's email.
I'm sure we'll
probably
get
have
it
to be
soon.
fair. Actually, can you you can go on their website and find business inquiries and then just send that again. And so if it doesn't get through the first time, it will get through the business inquiries.
And they'll just respond with, "How long ago did your dog die? You've been sending these messages for 3 years."
How many dogs did you have?
You got through 20.
Dog died again.
Oh.
Please
Dear
respond.
Mr. McFly, since our last message, a second dog has died.
If
I will continue killing dogs until you reply. As if you're like out there just like murdering dogs.
It's no message, just a picture of selfie with you with a knife into a dog's throat. I will kill another one.
Dogs must die before I get what I want.
Every message you ignore, another dog dies.
If you just cover that pod, you can save potentially 200 dogs.
It's terrorism. It feels like that's terrorism.
I'm gonna get fucking shortlisted for something.
Oh my god!
I'm sweating so bad now.
For the Vine.
Oh wow! Sorry. Overall, Denver.
Yeah, overall, just okay. Like it's good enough.
I'm going to predict Denver's rating, so we've got to remember this. It's going to be 6.5.
No, it's going to be 5.5.
It's going to be 7.
What do you think, Will?
7.
It'll be 7, Will said.
7.
All right, is it me?
No.
How does it match?
Is it,
I feel like
is it you?
Was I the one before?
It is you, sorry. It is you, yes.
And then it's me, and then it's Joe, because Joe's picks next.
All right, so... Dear Mr. McFly, I'm sorry to write to you under the pretense that a third dog has been killed. I'm not doing that bit. It's right. So I never really listened to this album as a kid.
No way.
I'm not blinded by nostalgia
How
like
did you
I know
miss
that
it?
people might be.
No, I never
missed
heard it either.
Just
I
didn't
knew
care,
Stargirl.
Joe. Just didn't care. My brother was a McFly kid. I was like an Avenged Sevenfold kind of.
I listened to the 5 Colours in Your Hair album, which is the one before this.
And I listened to the 5 Finger Death Punch album, which was the one not at all to do with McFly.
You've never liked 5 Finger Death Punch before?
No, you're right. I don't like them.
Who was the one that we did
blinded
like?
by nostalgia, which is one thing, unlike other people that might possibly be by the end of this review. It is good, though. Just throwing that out there. It is good. Variations are good. Weirdly 60s vibe in some of the songs. Very, like, bluesy.
I noticed that.
A lot of scales. Like, some stuff, or, like, theatre kid music. A bit of it.
What's theatre kid music?
Like you know, operatic, a bit like Disney Channel-y.
A bit
sort of
flourishy type of...
Not at all, really, but...
Camp
rock.
Camp rock, okay, with you. Yeah,
That
got
style.
you.
None of it really stuck with me, though. But that's because I have short-term memory loss. Dear Mr. McFly, the 4th dog has hit the 2nd tower. I hope you're well.
A second dog has died. Over and over.
The 2nd dog has hit the World Trade Center.
Oh, no.
The worst song for me was Friday Night. Rebecca Black did it much better. I think that song's it's just a bit meh. It was one of probably about 6 songs on there that I would have been like, shrug, take it or leave it. So Friday Night. 3rd favorite for me was Walk in the Sun. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would say it's a very Aidan song.
It is. I literally thought this could be it. This will be Aidan's favourite.
Like, I feel like I could have passively heard this. I'm like Will in this. I feel like I knew this song before I knew the song, you know?
You know, one thing I recognised in those little acoustic...
You know what I'm recognising, Joe? You cutting off my review again. Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? Are you going to jump through the screen and attack me? Been to the gym for 2 days.
I don't know why I did that.
Pretty fast player.
But can I say?
No, 2nd favourite for me was Stargirl. Ooh. Thank you.
This is the spooky special.
I don't know, it just came out.
Overplayed. But you can see why it is overplayed and the most played, because it just has something that the other songs don't have. You know? Bit of je ne sais
Bit
quoi.
of star quality.
It's like when I was in primary school and I used to take in the cupcakes, but instead of icing sugar, I'd put cocaine on it. And all the kids would constantly come back to my stand specifically. They had something really addictive about them that nobody knew about. But the first one for me, weird one, never heard it before, bit out of the blue. Bubble wrap.
Really?
I like how it starts at the start, and it's like really super like. I want to say Aidan-y again because it's like super acoustic. It's really like, really nice and thingy. And then in the middle of it, it just slaps it like a Marianas Trench song. It's very Marianas Trench. So it just like it comes in, it goes bigger, it gets in the middle bit, and then it's just like massive big chorus at the end. Yeah, absolutely love that song. Genuinely could go on the playlist, like 2023 playlist. Overall, nostalgia is a crazy thing, which is why still to this day, if I hear the Wiggles theme tune, I go feral and eat people.
Fuck's sake. I'm going to start off with my review saying, has anyone seen McFly here? Because I know someone has.
Yes.
Technically.
Because you saw McFly and Busted.
I saw
McBusted. Joe, I'm guessing you haven't seen them.
No.
And Denver, we saw them.
We did.
As a special guest.
Completely by accident, yeah. Right place, right time.
Which was fucking awesome. Which I would say they were very good. Very jolly. But
it was so weird at Slam Dunk, though. Slam Dunk was not a McFly vibe.
No.
There was no one nearly as poppy as McFly there.
No, but they had a massive crowd for like that short space, didn't they?
Well, it's because, for context, there was, when we went to Slam Dunk Festival 2 years ago, it's just like a one-day festival. None of the acts we wanted to see were on until like 4 o'clock, were they? So we were just rolling around. We were having a few drinks, just going between the stands. Just
we saw Normandy.
We saw Normandy. I think that was afterwards, though, wasn't it?
I think they were just before.
Because I felt like, well, anyway, and then we just happened to saw a big crowd around a stage. And we didn't know what it was for, and then we just heard whispers of it was like a surprise guest. But still, no one really knew who it was, so we had nowhere else to be. And then fucking McFly come out. And it was just so out of context for like.
But it was a full acoustic set as well, wasn't it? Like, wasn't it a fully acoustic?
That sounds
sick. It was ace. It was so good. Like.
Yeah, because they didn't like have any of their stuff. They literally just like came out as they were. If you know what I mean? Like, they didn't like set up anything.
Just imagine this tiny outdoor stage, like next to a load of big tents.
Oh, it was by far. It was like half the size of the next size stage.
Yeah, it was tiny. It was just next to food stalls and that, wasn't it? Like, it was ace.
Yeah, it was dead weird.
That was really good.
You listen to McFly, then you get the McFries.
Yeah. That food was expensive. They always are at festivals.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Anyway.
It's a tenner for anything. Although now it's like 12 quid for anything.
Literally.
Inflation, am I right, fellas?
Inflation, boys.
The album. I thought the songs that stood out, I really enjoyed. The songs that didn't stand out were kind of just incredibly meh. And you just forgot about them. Much like you said earlier, Denver, there's a select few songs that are very just the same. Like, the same kind of level. Like, you're just like, yeah, they're all right. But then I feel like the ones that actually stood out to me, like, I listened to a lot and would keep going back to them. Like, genuinely really liked them. Which wasn't a lot of the songs, but I did really enjoy this. Nostalgia was pretty high for me, as Aidan probably said it was going to be me. I loved McFly growing up and Busted, but I was actually more of a McFly than a Busted kind of guy.
I was more of a Busted guy.
Yeah, I was more McFly.
Was that rivalry actually a thing?
No, not really. I remember
as a kid being like, you were McFly or Busted.
Yeah,
we remember it as kids kind of thing, but if you went up a few years, like 15, 16-year-olds were actually like murdering on sight in the streets if you were a Busted fan.
Really?
It's like the American Bloods and Crips, but here we had Busted and McFly, where if they saw them, they're like,
true.
oh, shit, man, you busted, man? Shit, man, no, I'm McFly, man. Yeah, shit, man, yeah, man, shit, man.
Yeah, Joe, that's true.
It was on site. It was on site.
But then they combined.
Well, they had to, didn't they?
To stop the fighting.
They had to.
It's their Romeo and Juliet moment.
But they broke the system so much that the year after COVID happened. It's McFly. It's McBusted's fault.
Weren't they actually muck-busted longer than busted were busted?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they were. I think they were.
Yeah.
I think
Because they like
were only
toured
really
that
around
I feel like 10 years.
Yeah, but Busted are back together now.
Yeah, because I've told this
they
story a
make now?
million times, but Busted came back. They did a reunion tour. I went to go see it, and every song ended with Charlie doing a little tiny weird bit on the end of every song because they're like,
yes,
"Charlie's back, everybody!"
He is a great.
Like, look, I'm the bit you were missing.
Yeah, even though it wasn't, I was quite happy with McBusted. If anything, McBusted put on a much better show than just Busted. So I've converted, to be fair.
I really like
I don't
Charlie,
like Busted
though.
or McFly anymore. I like Crack.
I really like
Right,
Charlie.
So I didn't realize this. Busted, before they broke up, only had 2 albums. And then they made one in 2016 and 2019.
Nice.
Damn.
I haven't even heard the 2016.
The guy,
Busted album.
Charlie, has a TikTok and he just covers songs on guitar, which are quite good. Yeah, they're quite good.
Hey guys, I'm still relevant.
His voice. I liked when he went to. Do you remember Fight Star and they released that really good song? That one good song. I remember that.
Target.
Oh, that song is so good.
That was a really good song.
Listen to it. It's great. Imagine him basically just doing like a heavier stuff because he kind of screams on it a bit, doesn't he?
What's it called? Ain't Your Target.
Paint Your Target
By Fight Star.
By Fight Star. So this album obviously felt very nostalgic, but going back to it, I wouldn't say I still enjoyed it, but it's very much of its time. Like if this was released today, I don't feel like it would be half as popular. I think it's fair to say, maybe.
It just doesn't fit in with the music that comes out now.
No, it doesn't. That is very stuck in time. But I will give credit to them in that their music that they bring out now does fit with the times. They're one of like the bands that actually keeps fitting with what's being released. Like, obviously they're not as big now.
An album for like 10 years.
I know.
13 years.
But
what? I thought they did. I thought they released an album really recently.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, but before that, what was the album?
It was 13 years ago. It was Above the Noise.
You sure? I don't remember him ever saying.
Am I being stupid? Oh no, they released one in 2020. I'm wrong.
I was going to say.
Even still, that's still quite a gap between.
I remember the one that I'd Love Is Easy on it.
Yeah, it was a 10-year gap. 10-year gap.
Damn.
Oh, like me and my partner.
They went off to actually have lives, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they all had kids and stuff.
I noticed that, Aidan.
What?
Nothing. You'll hear it back in the when you read it.
when you edit it.
Was it a dig on me? Fuck's sake.
No.
Yeah, McFly have an album out this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Like, I did say that.
we were just saying that. This year is 2023, Denver.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Except for when you go to sleep and you wake up and your mum wakes you up for school and you realise, oh, it's 2013 again and you get to play Last of Us.
Would you guys go back in time and like live school again if you could?
Do I have the knowledge I have now?
Yes.
Do I have a bigger penis?
No.
Then no.
It's all like down to one thing and one thing only. Penis.
I say that, but it's an interesting trade-off. It's like, do you think you could still keep the bits you like today, but with the knowledge, you know?
I don't think it matters. I just do it because I'm terrified of dying.
I think I would do it, but only if there was an option I could, like, get to where I am now, and then I have a choice to make. You know, do you live the life you had or the life you now have?
Oh, right. You want there to be more stipulations in this. Instead of just going back, living your life and do whatever you want, you want to get to the exact point you are now, and then it basically be like red pill, blue pill.
Yeah.
You choose the Denver you once were. Or do you go
on this day
with a slightly larger penis in the future? And I'm like,
so say I'll jump back 20 years and I can live the next 20 years however I like. But say if I fuck up or do something really bad, I can still come back and live this life. But then I'll have the knowledge I gained from the other life.
Die if you get hit by a car.
If you get hit by a car while you're there taking your last breath, the man appears.
Do you think if
red pill, brown pill, take the red pill, go back to the future. Take the brown pill, you poo yourself.
Do you think? Do you think if you went back in time as the person you are now, rather than who you were back in time, that your life would be that much different?
I think you'd still probably eat bird shit, Joe.
Thank you.
Do you not think you'd suddenly be like around a load of fucking idiots?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Like, because you'd just be around kids, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, everything would feel so cringe, wouldn't it?
I remember for 2 years, Aidan every joke Aidan made was about wanking. So I don't want to go through that.
I went through that stage.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go through that again.
We were in schools when the term selfie was cool. And people were like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a selfie. Come take a selfie.
There was that song. Let me take a selfie.
Yeah. Oh, God.
You'd have to live through COVID again.
Would we, though? What if I fly to China and kill the guy that's doing it? Can I go back even further and try and stop that? Oh my God, I go back in time and I'm sneaking around the factory and I get bitten by a bat and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm going to go fly home.
It was you.
Paradox.
So true.
Fuck. So the album...
But then you're... Sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to say, but your flight lands in Italy, because didn't it all spark off in Italy and
I stopped for pizza.
In England?
It did spark off in Italy.
Sorry, carry on.
I still enjoyed the album. I just thought that it was very much like stuck in time, this album, but I still enjoyed it. Worst for me was Friday Night.
Big up.
Kind of just annoying. Wasn't a vibe. I thought the production was a bit shit on it as well. Kind of just sounds like they're shouting. But that was it was kind of hard to pick a worst because I didn't really like feel any different about that massively than I did any of the other lower songs. But that one just kind of annoyed me slightly more.
I really like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found it quite irritating.
I think it's because it reminds me of some Gran Turismo 4 songs.
Gran Turismo 4 songs?
Yeah, like some of the songs that were in Gran Turismo 4 like on the replays.
I was thinking more GTA.
Yeah, it's still that kind of driving song thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, the new Gran Turismo film's very good, by the way. And third for me was Walk in the Sun. I loved it. I want to put it in the Big Boys playlist. It's a vibe. It's like very chill. I love the guitar of it. The production's quite nice and it's quite raw.
Oh no, because of what you were saying, does this mean Bubble Wrap second and Stargirls first?
Oh no. We were on a level today.
Oh, we were the whole shebang?
The whole shebang. Second is Stargirl.
Whoa.
Obviously fantastic.
Oh, fuck me, when was the last time this happened?
I know. So when Aidan was like saying it, I was like, no way is he going to say Bubble Wrap. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, second for me, much like Aidan said, overplayed. So it kind of like, obviously before I listened to the album, that probably would have been up top. But listening back to it, I don't ever remember Bubble Wrap, and I fucking love Bubble Wrap, which is first, because it's fantastic.
Whoa.
The only other one that was very close to being third, I would say, was Lonely. That was very close. And then
like that.
Nice acoustic one.
Yeah, like that. And then I would say the other one that I liked a lot was Sorry's Not Good Enough. Other than that, I thought all the rest were kind of just a throwaway, mainly.
This is going to be interesting now because Will said all this. I agree with absolutely everything, even down to the honourable mentions. So we're going to see a quantifiable value of nostalgia. We're going to see it. We're going to see how much more nostalgia is.
2.5.
It's probably going to give you about 2.5, I reckon.
Will's rating system's fucking so
Oh,
shoddy.
here we
anyway.
go. Joe has to say it every time.
Bang on the same. I was so ready for you to be bang on the same.
There's no way that can happen. Will's going to give it either like 0.5 or 1 more than.
But I would argue you're more sceptical, even though of the things you've said. Whereas I would still say I'd enjoy it more.
Yeah, I agree.
If that makes sense.
I could give you a rough. Hang on. A rough like offset. So I could give you the average to see how much on average Will scores higher than anyway, and see if it's any more or less than that.
Whoa.
Is
Is
you
this
know what I mean?
maths time? All right,
This
we
is
can do a
maths
bit
time.
of maths time.
You can carry on. I'll.
I was going to say, let Joe cook.
Yeah,
sorry, Will.
Is
I was going to say,
very well here.
Nice.
I would say
doing the work.
Last thing is just that I enjoyed going back to this, and it was a very nice pick. Very happy with it. Very chill, Joe.
Sorry, I've actually done the maths. If you want to.
Oh wow,
that was so quick. I thought it was going to be like 10 minutes. Like,
I thought, but actually doing this was much easier.
That's
so
why
on
we put
average,
it in an Excel spreadsheet, lads.
Literally, Will scores 6.5.
Okay.
Aidan scores 5.5.
There you go. So it's literally a whole one below.
That is the baseline average. So
I can see that. I'm predicting now, which will give away my rating.
How much more does nostalgia give? Then what?
0.5, I would say.
So you'll think it's going to be 1.5 more than what you say.
What are our averages at the minute, Denver?
So Joe's. So this is rounding up to the nearest 0.5, mind.
Yeah.
So Joe's is actually less, but it does round up to 6.5. Mine rounds to 6.
Nice.
So it's like a progressive.
It makes sense.
Exact. Will is 6.46. Joe is 6.29. I'm 5.98, and Aidan's 5.39.
Wow. Okay. Actually, so that's quite a lot lower then.
Yeah. So me, Will, Joe, me are kind of progressive, like almost 0.2 apart from each other, give or take. And then Aidan's like 0.6 less than me.
Fair enough.
I'm just a critical reviewer, you know. The closest you can get to 0.5 is probably the best kind of average you can get, really.
I was going to say, if anything...
You just don't like music.
I hate music.
Yeah, you could argue, if anything, like, the average album should be 5.
Therefore... Just saying,
but then, like, we're not reviewing every album ever made. We are reviewing the albums that were popular,
lad.
So... There's an
I think we'll catch up.
We should be given 7.5.
Yeah, we'll catch up. At this rate, we'll catch up.
We'll catch up, I'm sure. Fucking
albums are being made faster than we can review them is the problem.
Yeah, especially by crap artists like Wet Leg.
And then they're retiring. The news. Wet Leg are retiring.
Are they?
What?
Yeah.
Are they just rebranding or?
I don't know what's going on. But
In the press conference when they did it, they said, "We've heard of these guys called Consistently Trash. We heard they're good mates with McFly,
Their dog
and
died.
unfortunately, his dog did die. But because of their harsh and critical words, we're going to have to retire because we realise that we're actually not talented, and in fact have just made horrible music." So I respect it, to be honest.
I respect it. I like them more than I
You
ever
got to
have
stand
now.
down, you know what I mean? It's like suicide bombers. So they're like, "Oh, I got to put my hands up, guys. It was me." Except they do that and they don't have hands anymore, probably.
I saw it on TikTok the other day. They've announced at a show that they're retiring or something.
Good. Stay that
Maybe
way.
it's not true, and I'll be devastated.
Hopefully it's permanent.
So, is it me? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. I don't know whether nostalgia grabbed me or whatever it was, but I fucking loved this. I thought it was great, and I think what helped by the first song was a song I used to sing a lot as a kid. One of the first songs I ever learned on guitar. "We Are the Young." Good song. I'm sure there's a video of me playing that on Facebook somewhere. So yeah. What a day! What a day! What a day! What a day! These are the days. I'm sure there's a video somewhere. Fucking great song, but not on my top 3. I actually kind of disagree. I went back to this and thought, yes, it doesn't fit in with the times of the music that's made today. But I think it's still aged incredibly well because I will happily go back and listen to this at any time. I think the production really holds up, and yes, it doesn't have the intricate synthy stuff that, like, I guess modern day poppy songs would have, or even the pop punk songs, but that rawness and that kind of
simplicity.
Simplicity, yeah. I feel like, but
Just can't talk.
What's the least favourite, Joe?
I feel like music these days has overcomplicated it because there's so much.
He's saying like there's so many layers to songs you can add, but you don't
Go on.
you feel like you need to.
Music is added.
There's.
I just really think that
when you really break music down.
While Joe's getting his thoughts, have we got a response from McFly yet?
Oh, that's a good point. We need an update.
Quick check. I was worried then by his face. I thought they had replied.
Just a read receipt.
They haven't read it yet. It's only been 26 minutes.
There's still time. Still time.
So, anyway, so what I was trying to say is I feel like there is so much options in terms of production these days, in terms of what you can do digitally with synths and drum machines, and like everything can be done digitally now. Whereas before, when these guys were making this album, yes, that was just coming to light, but it was a lot more hands-on playing the instruments. Whereas you could like produce a whole song now just on the computer without ever having to touch an instrument. And I feel like that's
to be fair, actually, I actually get what Joe's saying, and if anything, it might have swayed my opinion because they were making this music, and Oasis were also making music, and they were just doing a fucking awful job. Whereas at least McFly like tried to make good music. You know what I mean?
And I feel like with all those restrictions they had when this album came out, the production was still really fucking good.
I like that, Joe. I'm going to give it an extra point time.
Oh my god! Are you actually...
No, legit. I don't think I've in all of this time of album review. I don't think I've been swayed by a single thing that you've ever said. But right now, I am. I actually am.
I'm going to give it an extra 0.5 here.
I agree with you, Joe.
Oh, actually, I don't know.
I can't believe it. I'm smiling because this has never happened before.
Actually, sorry, I'm not giving it number.
Oh, okay. 300 reviews. To
I'm actually going to minus it 0.5 just to be different.
Okay.
Right, just to counter that, minus 0.5. I am actually going to add a 0.5.
I'm going to add a 10, I think.
Oh my god, you had 10.
It's a 10.
This could be the greatest album of 2006.
Aidan's given it an 18. I don't know how he's done it.
We're allowed one overscore.
But I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think they did do a really good job with the production and everything. And I would still go back and listen to it. I love the vibes that it gives off. It just gives off that kind of silly, fun, I'm having a great time sort of. Don't stop me now. I'm having a good time sort of vibe. You know, I'm having a ball with this album.
Wait for 4 minutes of silence.
My least favorite was "Walk in the Sun." Boo! I know.
What the fuck?
Boo you!
I know. But it was still a great song. It just, like Denver said earlier, it did not have the hookiness that all the other songs had. It just like, but saying that, what I was going to say earlier was, especially in that song, the guitar is so good. Like the acoustic little riffs that they do is so fucking good, and it sounds great. And I love that, and they do that in a few of the songs.
They are actually really well done. Like ridiculous.
Very polybridgey, Aidan. I thought.
I don't know what that means, but I agree.
The polybridge soundtrack.
No idea what you're talking
about. You really like.
Never played games.
That one. No. Anyway, my third favourite was Lonely.
Lonely.
I thought this gave off proper Michael Bublé vibes.
Michael Bublé? Would anyone disagree?
Michael Bublé. I feel like I'm going to have to...
It's not very Christmassy.
Just haven't met you yet.
I guess I could imagine Bublé singing it, I guess. I'm not sure if I would say it's a Bublé song. To be fair, I don't think I've ever actually listened to a full Bublé album that wasn't his Christmas album, so...
Fair enough. Yeah, I thought this gave off very much Michael Bublé vibes. I liked it. It was cute. Very oldie-woldy. Like the instrumentation.
Is that the technical term?
Oldie-woldy.
So that was sound engineer lingo right there.
I lied.
This is really good live, but like we're gonna have to turn up the oldie-woldy. Yeah, no worries.
Apparently I lied. Looking at my notes, We Are the Young is my second favourite. It is in there. That's probably for nostalgic reason more than anything else. I think there are better songs on, but that just gives me that nostalgia boost that you so crave.
That really freaked me out there.
My favourite, of course, was Stargirl. You just can't get.
Shit, sorry, I missed your second.
We Are the
Young. My favourite was, of course, Stargirl. Just a banging fucking tune. It is just set slightly. It's similar to all the other songs in terms of like the vibe and the sound that they go for, but it's just that little bit better than all the rest of them, in my opinion.
We could really break it down to see what makes it better, but at the same time, it just can't be fucked, to be honest.
Like I think what they nail in this album, which again modern albums don't nail as well anymore, is that they have, and it's so hard to describe, but they have a lot of variation in this album, but they nail how varied it is. Like it's never too far varied that it's just not them. You know, like we've just listened to the Nothing But Fees album, and like every song could be a different band. Whereas these guys, they never vary too much, but they vary just enough to make the album feel fresh all the time. While keeping their same sort of sound.
It's going to be another 0.5, I feel.
I haven't actually added anything on yet, but I score in two categories. So it's like, which one would I say?
Men and women.
It's one of those, like, it's so hard to describe, but I feel like they nail variation on this album where the modern music that we listen to now just don't nail.
Yeah, I guess, do you know that? I agree with Aidan. I think you're making some very bang-on points here, Joe. Like, you're right, the variation is just enough where it still always sounds like McFly. It's not like McFly are suddenly trying to do metal.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's equally different enough where, like, they have clear distinctions or elements that are in, like, just one or two of the songs, but then that's combined with another element that's grabbed from other songs. So it's almost like they're always mixing and matching styles and...
Exactly. And
certain tropes.
It's really nice to hear. More artists need to take a page out of McFly's book. They need to go back to this album and listen
once
to
again
it.
From like 18 years ago.
Has anyone heard the most recent album?
I've not, no.
Saw it come up on my Spotify. Well, you sure will. You sure you haven't listened to it?
Sure you will.
You sure will.
I haven't.
Earlier you say I like their new stuff.
You meant like
newer
stuff.
2021. The 2020, okay. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of my conclusion with it. Like, there's not much else to say. That's not kind of already been said. But yeah, a nostalgia kick for me, but also just feeling good and just enjoyed my time.
Wow. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Ratings. Aidan was right. 5.5.
I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to give it a 7.
7.5.
So the nostalgia factor would have given it a 0.5 had Joe not have convinced me to go one higher.
No, it wouldn't. Your normal offset. Your normal offset is 1.
Oh, it worked out. So I guess maybe it just wasn't a nostalgia thing this time. Then.
Hey, really? Nostalgia really didn't play a part.
And to be honest, the way Will reviewed his review was like... It didn't seem like he was being biased, like as he usually is.
Rare. Yeah, rare.
Rare Will Davey
moment.
I'm assuming this is a thumbs up from Joe.
This is a thumbs up from me.
But yeah, just to reiterate, it was originally 6.5 until Joe gave that rousing speech. I did genuinely put 0.5 on it.
Whoa.
Because I didn't see it like that. And then when you brought it up, I was like, yeah, this album did come out in like 2006 or whatever the fuck it was. So like, yeah, they wouldn't have been going crazy with it.
It's definitely one of those albums now I'm thinking, God, was it way better than that? But like the first few times of listening, I had no desire to listen to it. It was
I agree. I agree, to be fair. Like it wasn't a 30 at all. So it was never going to go above a 7.5 for me. But it was fine.
I think it was a 30 for me just because of its legend status that's engraved in my head.
Shut the fuck up, you stupid felon.
It's just not
saying you're ruining your review, Joe.
Your legend, put me down. 6.5.
It's just not the best
so
McFly album. It's just not.
So
well, that was good, guys. But what's the next album?
But what is the next album?
the next
Joe?
album is a band that I keep hearing come up again and again and again, and I never ever stopped and decided to take a listen to them. And then I looked on their Spotify page and I was like, "Fuck, these guys have got a lot of listeners." And I listened to an album and I was like, "Fuck, these guys are really good." And then they just put out a new album, which is what we're going to listen to, which is called "The Dark" by the band Camino.
Ooh.
Oh,
Just for reference, their name
I can't remember
is
I've seen
the band
this.
Camino.
Well, it's one of those bands you go, I'm sure I've seen this band, but you can't just put a finger on it.
I'm not sure if I was going to pick them at one point. How do you spell that?
Camino.
Dark.
Oh, it's just as you think.
It is.
The band Camino. Oh, wow, the name is actually the band Camino.
It is. So I hope, because I know that I really like the other album, I really hope that this one
Have these got a
is as
TikTok
good,
song?
if not better. I have no idea.
I'm trying to think how I know them.
I don't think so. But yeah, really like the other album, so I hope this one's good because I want a good rating. Hoping for a good rating. I need to boost my scores a bit. All those metal bands that I chose years ago.
Well, it's not really
months
about
ago.
that, though, Joe.
It is. I want a 30.
Well, thanks for that.
Just do what I do and pick albums you know everyone likes, just so you can get the day.
I just like to do new music that we haven't listened to before. Other than if I'm showing you metal, and then I just like to ruin your lives for a week.
I like to change it up every now and then. I know we like to pick new albums because they sort of tend to do better and it's new stuff.
Yeah,
But I think every now and then we still need an older pick.
I agree.
Well,
I
we're never
agree.
going to become professional reviewers if we don't listen to what can be considered the classics.
Mm.
We've still, none of us have picked like a Pink Floyd album or anything yet, you know?
Hey, I picked what were they called?
The chords.
The
Chords.
Kind of different, Joe. Literally a one-hit wonder band.
that had one hit song.
I'd say Denver's
if you
picks the
want-
oldest albums.
Well, the
Maybe on
Chords, wasn't it,
average, but
He's
the
picked the
Chords was
Beatles.
the oldest.
Have we done a Queen album yet?
No.
No.
I mean, that's just.
We've not done an Elton
criminal.
John album.
No. Maybe we should have Classics Week at some point.
Well,
That
we always
would
have
be
to be
better.
careful with classics to run into the problem we had with, was it Bon Jovi, where it turns out we did just pick their greatest hits album without realising.
Like you say, it was really me, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Like,
was you, Joe.
I was trying to cover you there, Joe.
You were.
None of us noticed until the review, so.
That's true.
But it was in tiny text before on the app where it says like
It was.
greatest
It doesn't
hits.
say it anywhere else.
It was just so weird. It's like, I don't know this band well, but I know like half of this album. It's weird.
Yeah.
I just thought I made the thumbnail for that as well, and I just didn't even read the because I put the album art on the cover, don't I? And it's like, didn't read it.
Should do
God.
soundtracks month.
Soundtracks month.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I like Polybridge. I love the Polybridge
We
soundtrack.
could just
Yeah,
all
I'll
pick
do it
a
now, yeah.
favourite film soundtrack each, and then
I would be very happy to do that. Just a one-off.
It's a one-off special.
Mine would be the Lego movie.
I know why, Denver, but we could switch it up a little bit every now and again. It could be to celebrate having over 100 videos.
Do we have 100 videos? Do we,
We've got like a-
do we really
we've got
not
like
have over
100
100 videos?
We've got like
We do, we've got like
167.
70, haven't we?
So it'd have to be like 200 videos.
Our 200th video is us doing soundtrack review. I really like this part.
I put C page. To be fair, though, it's going to be ages to get up to that, isn't it? Because we don't upload like we used to.
Exactly.
Yarr. Realising that 2014 is only 3 months away. Yarr.
Yarr.
I'm
Beautiful.
trying to think what happens next. Joe says a fact.
I think
Any
we
closing
just
thoughts,
leave,
Joe?
don't we?
Did you know
Oh.
that when a bee has an orgasm, Bear with me. When a bee has an orgasm, its testicles explode and its penis gets torn apart.